We're tracking more coming in on this story at this hour after the US carried out an unprecedented large-scale strike on Venezuela, capturing President Nicolas Maduro and his wife, flying them out of the country. The US President Donald Trump has now announced that the US is going to run Venezuela until transition of power. While the US President did not offer a timeline for how long in fact he anticipated such a transition of power would take. Trump, in fact, even posted a picture of the US-captured Venezuelan leader, Nicolas Maduro, aboard the US, in fact, the Iwo Jima, in handcuffs, in a grey sweatshirt, blindfolded. Now, the US President Donald Trump has made a series of strong claims on Venezuela. He says that he would run the country until a transition was to follow and allow US oil companies to operate there, and call the President Nicolas Maduro a narco-terror kingpin. Now, Trump has also claimed that US action left Venezuela's military powerless and that he was ready for a second attack if needed. Listen in to the reactions coming in.
We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. So we don't want to be involved with having somebody else get in, and we have the same situation that we had for the last long period of years. As everyone knows, the oil business in Venezuela has been a bust, a total bust, for a long period of time. They were pumping almost nothing by comparison to what they could have been pumping and what could have taken place. We're going to have our very large United States oil companies, the biggest anywhere in the world, go in, spend billions of dollars, fix the badly broken infrastructure, the oil infrastructure, and start making money for the country. And we are ready to stage a second and much larger attack if we need to do so. So we were prepared to do a second wave. It was dark and it was deadly. But captured along with his wife, Cilia Flores, both of whom now face American justice. Maduro and Flores have been indicted in the Southern District of New York, it's Jay Clayton, for their campaign of deadly narco-terrorism against the United States and its citizens. Maduro and his wife will soon face the full might of American justice and stand trial on American soil.
Well, on this, my colleague Sheetal Banacharya joining us on the broadcast. Sheetal, walk us through the details. We're getting information that the captured Venezuelan president has in fact been brought to New York. What exactly is, of course, the chain of events which is to follow?
Yeah, so as we know that Venezuelan President Maduro has been brought to New York, but he is in fact being brought to New York State, which is upstate 60 miles away from New York City, and he is going to be transported to the Metropolitan Detention Center, which is also famously the center where Ghislaine Maxwell was kept. And we don't have enough information about the timeline as to when and how, in what scenario will he be transported. But that detention center happens to be in Brooklyn, and we are sure that we'll get more information when we reach the Brooklyn detention center soon. And hopefully I'll be able to share more details about how he is looking and how the whole thing is going to pan out. And as we know that he is being charged with what the prosecutors are saying, that his role has been allegedly in bringing tons of thousands of cocaine in the US. And there are very interesting charges that he has against him, including narco-terrorism, conspiracy to import cocaine, drug trafficking, and possession of machine guns and destructive devices.
Since you mentioned the charges and you say that he is facing narco-terrorism charges and is being indicted alongside his wife, if I remember correctly, even in the year 2020, he was facing similar charges, right?
Yes.
Right, and also help us understand that now that he has been indicted, and of course, the US president also, we heard a while back, was saying that, the Venezuelan president will face the US law. How exactly are we expecting the proceedings to pan out?
He is going to face the music of the law in the United States at Manhattan Federal Court, which is in downtown New York. And it's one of the most famous courthouses that New York City has seen. A lot of cases have been heard there. And we are hoping that we'll also see Maduro there. I'm anticipating it's going to be a very, very long trial. And we just have to wait and watch how the trial pans out. But the next step for Maduro is going to be to get to the detention center in Brooklyn. And then obviously all the formalities will be done. And then he will be in the custody of federal cops. And then he will face the trial in Manhattan Federal Court.
Right now, I also wish to understand from you, because of course this is something that sent shockwaves across the world. Has there been any reactions that's coming from any of the opposition leaders, especially the Democrats?
As of now, there are little to no reactions from the Democrats in the New York City, wherein we have seen the swearing in of Zohran Mamdani just 2 days ago. I am still waiting to get a reaction from him, but hopefully there will be more reactions when Maduro is in fact in the city, because right now he is in upstate New York, and everything that we are hearing is from the federal authorities or Donald Trump himself. But hopefully we'll get more reactions soon.
Reporters joining us on the broadcast. Let me also go across to them. We actually have Mary Trini Mena joining us from, in fact, Caracas, Venezuela. Mary, I wish to understand from you, of course, whatever's happened in the past 24 hours has sent shockwaves, especially across Venezuela. How exactly is the situation looking like on ground?
Well, right now, the city remains in calm, in silence. It has been like that for the majority of this Saturday, in contrast with what we experienced early in the morning with loud sounds across the city, helicopter flying over and planes flying over the city of Caracas. The government of Nicolas Maduro is saying that this was a kidnap from the U.S. military forces that enter Venezuela. They are calling this an aggression from a foreign country, and they say there has to be a strong reaction from the international community, from neighboring countries, to demand the release of President Nicolas Maduro. They, of course, are loyal to Maduro, one inner circle that is calling his supporters to remain in the streets. We witnessed some small gatherings, especially around the presidential palace in Caracas, but the majority of Venezuelans decided to stay at home and remain silent for most of the day. Brick and mortar stores were mostly closed in the stores, and some people decided to stock on food and medicines in case the situation it lasts for many days. So far, there are members of the military forces that kept loyal to Nicolas Maduro, but we need to remember that Donald Trump also threatened that a new wave of attacks could happen in Venezuela, that he is trying to talk with some people in charge in Venezuela. And he is referring to the vice president of Venezuela, Delcy Rodriguez, who's now leading the country in the absence of Nicolas Maduro.
Right now, I also wish to understand from you, because you mentioned, of course, the Vice President Delcy Rodriguez. What sort of popularity does she enjoy? Because, she's very openly spoken against, of course, the US president and the US invasion that's happened in Venezuela.
Well, it is uncertainty and unexpected what it could happen in the coming days. The government is calling for a state of emergency, and that means that the country will be under special security measures to secure the country, the borders especially. And of course, the government is trying to react with this situation that was really important for them. Most citizens are, as I said, in calm at home.
Right, Maria, I'm really sorry to interrupt you there. We actually have Jagriti Dave, in fact, joining us from Washington. Let's also get a word from her. Jagriti, help us understand how exactly is the entire procedure going to look like, given the fact that that the Venezuelan president has, in fact, landed in New York.
Yes, all cameras were on the military base in New York State, just outside of New York City, where Nicolas Maduro's plane that was transporting him was landing, and there was cameras there that you could see pictures of what appeared to be a figure that looked similarly dressed to the man in the photograph that Donald Trump posted on Truth Social. Nicolas Maduro dressed in a sort of a light-colored tracksuit, and you could see in those videos of the news reporters' cameras of a man sort of shuffling, surrounded by agents, being taken for processing. And obviously, this is all part of this arrest warrant that the United States had issued for Nicolas Maduro. An unsealed Department of Justice indictment showed accused Maduro of and his associates of terrorism, a conspiracy to import cocaine into the United States, drug trafficking, corruption of public institutions to protect illegal shipments, drug shipments, and partnerships with foreign drug terror groups, as well as the possession of machine guns. In the indictment, Maduro's son, his wife, and a minister of the Interior was among those named. So we're expecting the arraignment to happen perhaps as early as Monday. This is a very, very fast-moving situation indeed.
Right.